Hey, I'm recording this on Cyber Monday, but it has nothing to do with sales online. It's because it's Cyber Week, because the Cybertruck is on the way. So let's talk about that. Boom! Hey, you join me in my home, basement, office, man cave, whatever you want to call it. And obviously, the big thing that's coming up this week, the event everybody's waiting for more than Christmas itself, is the Cybertruck event in Austin this week. Elon, I think we all assume, is going to unveil pricing, production numbers. I think that's probably all we don't really know about the Cybertruck at this point, because for months now, there's been pictures on X and YouTube and videos of Cybertruck spottings all over the country, all over the world even. Plenty of people have seen it in person. Just in the last week, they've started showing up in Tesla showrooms everywhere. And again, lots of pictures and videos posted all over the internet of the Cybertruck itself in those places, and even the lines going out the door like it's a 2015 iPhone launch day or something. So, you know, there's a lot we already do know about the Cybertruck. So the question is, like, obviously, what do we not know? And so, because the event's coming up this week, and it's 4 years, if we can believe it, 4 years since the Cybertruck was first unveiled. And just think about all the things that have happened in 4 years. 4 years ago, when Hans threw that ball through the window of that Cybertruck, we've gone through a pandemic, massive economic upheaval. You know, the pandemic caused the economy to tank, caused the economy to skyrocket, to plateau. We are now, you know, we've had supply chain issues, chip issues. You know, we're dealing with inflation, which luckily is starting to come down a little bit, but it was pretty high, still very high. Inflation, interest rates are, relative to the last 20 years, very high. But I think overall, we've kind of gotten back to the historic norm. And I don't think interest rates are going to drop all that much. We are going into an election year, and typical of that, the party in power is going to try to do everything they can to bring those interest rates down to make the economy look a lot better, to stay in power. That's just what happens in an election year. But I don't think we're going to see interest rates at like 1.5% or 2% again for a very long time. So the question that comes to mind is the pricing of the Cybertruck. Now, I saw Kyle from Out of Specs video over the weekend where he went down to a Tesla dealership or a Tesla showroom in Colorado to see the Cybertruck for himself. And towards the end of that video, when they were leaving, there was discussion about why did it take so long for the Cybertruck to finally get here. And I think Kyle said something that I think is really true. I believe he said something along the lines of, when they unveiled the Cybertruck 4 years ago, when they rolled that thing up on the stage, they didn't have any idea how they would actually build it and mass produce it. You know, I think, you know, they rolled it out there to shock the world and see, you know, sort of find out what the world thought of it. And they sure did. I mean, obviously you either love the Cybertruck, you hate it. There's not a lot of in between. But either way, you know, they put it out there with the $100 reservation fee, which was basically nothing. And, you know, I don't know what the final numbers were, but I believe it was well over 1 million people put in the initial deposits within the first couple of days of the unveiling of the Cybertruck in 2019. So I think that told Tesla that, yeah, people want this. And also, you know, keep in mind that at that time, there was no F-150 Lightning. The Rivian, it was known that it was coming, but it didn't exist yet. You couldn't buy one. I think you might have been able to pre-order them. I don't remember if you could pre-order them at that point yet, but it didn't exist. You couldn't buy one. You couldn't drive one. There was no Silverado EV coming. You know, there were no electric pickup trucks anywhere. I mean, they didn't exist. So when Elon threw out that pricing of, I believe for the dual motor, like $49,900, which was like basically right in line with a standard F-150, I think that was probably just as shocking as just the overall look of the truck itself. People were going, how can they make this truck for this price? And I think Elon, I don't want to say just made it up, but I think that's kind of what happened. I think they were just like, well, let's put a price on it. Let's say $39.9 for the single motor, $49.9 for the dual motor, and I believe it was like $69.9 for the tri-motor, which, well, the plaid, I guess. And they were just like, let's throw it out there and see what people think. And people were just blown away, like, how can they do this? And I don't think they even knew. I don't think they really even believed that those pricing figures would ever really be true. And even if they were, even if they did all kinds of research, they knew exactly what materials they're going to use, how much it was going to cost to produce all that. Even if they knew all that stuff in 2019, here we are 4 years later, and you just look at everything that's happened, and pricing is for everything has just exploded. I believe the price of an F-150 from 2019 to today, just the standard ICE version, has gone up like almost 30%. So if you use that as a gauge, you have to assume that the Cybertruck pricing would probably grow by that much at least. I would actually be shocked if it's only that much. It's probably going to be a lot more. I would think for the tri-motor version, which again is essentially like a Cybertruck plaid. I mean, if you look at a Model S plaid, they're upwards of 100 grand. I got to think that that's probably where the tri-motor version of the Cybertruck's probably going to land. And that would probably be, and my guess would be those are the first ones that they make, so they can make the higher cost, higher margin trucks first. And then the dual motors will come after that. And I would imagine those are probably going to end up being somewhere between 60 and 75,000 would be my guess. And again, I'm just guessing. Obviously, I don't know. Nobody probably outside of Tesla knows. But, I'd be shocked if they could even come close to the original pricing that they announced. And even with a 30 or 40 or even 50% increase in those prices, they're probably still going to take a loss on the truck for the first couple of years, because it's probably going to take 2 to 3 years to really get to the scale they want to build these things, to be able to really turn a profit on them. And then reading in the Wall Street Journal today, just an article about just the production process and how difficult it's been, just because they use that stainless steel, and because Elon wanted thick stainless steel so that it could be bulletproof. I mean, that was his big thing. He wanted the truck to be bulletproof. I don't think on Thursday they'll be throwing any steel balls at the windows, but you never know. I mean, Elon, who knows? Maybe he will. And everybody's seen the video of Joe Rogan, firing his arrow at the side of the truck and it just explodes, and Elon firing at it with a machine gun and all that. So that's all great and everything, but that just adds to the cost, right? Battery prices have come down, so maybe that means there's some little bit of a cost savings in there, but my guess would be that the pricing probably ends up being somewhere in the neighborhood of, for the dual motor, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 75,000. That's just where I feel like it'll probably land. And then if you want that tri-motor version, you're going to have to pay. And at that point, if you're going to spend 100 grand roughly, give or take 5 or 10 grand, is that really like a utility vehicle? I guess people take that stuff off-roading. I'm not really an overlanding guy, so I don't know. But, and then it's stainless steel. So the problem with stainless steel is, yeah, it's hard to ding and it's hard to scratch, but it can stain. It's interesting that it's always called stainless steel. You can stain it. I mean, bird shit can stain stainless steel. Dead bugs just from driving on the highway, if you don't wash them off in a certain amount of time, just the gunk that builds up on the front of your car when you take a road trip in the summertime, that can stain it. And then that's not easy to get off. That's like, you got to sand it. So I also think that Tesla introduced that wrapping program not long ago. I think they're going to do that for the Cybertruck, because we have all seen the matte black wrapped one that Hans was driving around in. I would imagine that that's going to be an option when you buy a Cybertruck, to get it wrapped. And whether or not they have more than just black, I don't know. I saw a render someone did of a red Cybertruck that looked sick. So that one could be kind of cool. But I think, anybody who wants to, if they're going to buy a Cybertruck and you're going to invest whatever amount of money in it, that you're probably going to then add the wrap to it, which is probably going to be, I think they charge $7,500 right now to get your Tesla wrapped for a Model 3 or Y or S. My guess would be probably closer to 10 grand, maybe a little more, to get the Cybertruck wrapped, even though it's got a lot of sharp corners. They're probably going to charge you the nose to wrap it because obviously there's a lot more surface on that thing. So I would think most people are going to want it wrapped because that will preserve the stainless steel finish that, at whatever point you decide to sell it. And I know obviously in the first year you can't sell it. Tesla made that clear. But let's say it gets 2, 3, 4 years down the road and you want to trade it in, maybe get a new Cybertruck, you're going to get something else, whatever. You're going to want that stainless steel finish to be pristine for whoever gets that truck next because, after 3 or 4 years, you're going to want to either replace the wrap or someone's going to want to just take it off and have that, silver stainless steel finish. So, I imagine, to get it wrapped, it's probably going to be another 10 grand. So, like if the tri-motor one does come in around 100 grand, now you're looking at 110, and then they're going to charge, who knows, is it going to be $12,000 for FSD? Or is it going to be more for the Cybertruck? Who knows? So add that on, and so you could end up seeing like the tri-motor Cybertruck getting up as high as $120,000, and at that point again, are you going to take that off-roading? I don't know. I wouldn't, because to me, 120 grand to go taking it up into the woods, driving it over rocks and stuff, I don't know that I would do that. Even the dual motor one, let's say it lands at like 70 grand before the wrap, before FSD, whatever other kind of things you can add on, different interior colors, whatever it is that Tesla loves to charge for. Again, you could be pushing 85, 90 grand for that one. And then the question is, does that put it out of reach of most people? I don't know. People pay a lot of money for trucks now. They just do. I mean, pickup trucks are not cheap. So will people buy the Cybertruck? I think they will, at least in the numbers that they're going to produce initially. I mean, I think, him talking about getting up to 250,000 units per year, it's probably not going to be a problem for Tesla to sell those out. Even if he comes out and says it's 150 grand, he's going to sell them all. There's no doubt about it. It's just, will they make a profit? And, is it going to be a mass adoption type of vehicle, or is it going to be like a Model S or a Model X where, yeah, if you're doing all right financially, you can probably afford one. But if you're, I don't know, 32 years old, you're making maybe 80, 90 grand a year, you got a couple of kids, you got a mortgage, maybe that puts it out of reach for you. And, you're going to stay with the Model Y. I don't know. But I guess that's what the event on Thursday is all about, right? It's to find all this good stuff out. So I'll be watching. I know there'll be a lot of people there. A lot of YouTubers will all be there. And so I'm sure there'll be all kinds of crazy news and information coming out of there on Thursday. So I'll be looking forward to that. I'm actually taking a road trip on Thursday, going out to Cape Cod to visit my parents. So I'll be monitoring it all. And, I hopefully will arrive at my destination before the event begins so I can watch it all. And along with, I'm sure, all of you. So happy Cybertruck week. Remember, EVs are awesome, and it is okay to be awesome. See you guys next time. Bye. Hey, it's, oh, there it is.